stress, anxiety, burnout. What do all three of these things have in common? The most common denominator is that all three of them, if you answered fear, you are correct. All three of them have an underlying pattern of fear. And I don't think I need to go into depth to convince you that we are bombarded with so many, I shall say, opportunities to fall into the fear-based pattern, whether it's through media or through another person's narrative that may be a little bit more negative. So today I'm going to be sharing with you one of my spiritual toolbox tools, and we are going to break down how to get from fear back into love, peace, compassion, and acceptance, to go from a lower state of consciousness into a higher state of consciousness. And this isn't going to be a spiritual bypassing, just love and light it and it'll all go away. That has never been very effective for me. But instead, I want to offer a mindset shift and a higher perspective on how you can shift out of that lower fear-based energy to get into the higher vibration of peace, love, and acceptance. And through that, when you make that shift, you actually see a higher vantage point and you're better primed to see what solution you can offer at hand, or to decide what is yours and what isn't yours. I felt this message was very timely because of what is going on the world stage, especially as wars are waging out in different areas of this planet. And it can be very unsettling. In fact, as I was working out earlier this week, I was on the treadmill, getting my run on, and usually this is a time of self-care, self-love. I feel good. I'm just really getting into my work. I'm present. I'm not in my crazy monkey mind, as some people call it, and I can just be in my body. This is usually a time that I feel good and I am present. But in front of me, there were headlines going on the TV talking about updates going on with the war and in the Middle East, and very, very, very unsettling to come across that. No one wants to see images like that. No one wants these things to happen. And even if you're not in those countries, the humanitarian, the empathetic version of you, or if you are empathetic, then you may know that we often have the tendency of taking on the world's problems as our own because we care so much, because we can feel that, we can feel into it very easily. And that is basically asking for fear to consume you, because that is all that is going on in that world, in that circumstance. So, but though it kind of is a knee-jerk reaction, isn't it? When you see something like that going on, you tend to hone in. And as I was doing that, I could start to feel all the fear rising up, and then the mind it was just about to take that energy and go crazy with it and start spiraling out on different fear-based what ifs. And that's unfortunately sometimes just the knee-jerk reaction of what we do as humans when we see negative things, when we hear negative news. We tend to latch onto it as a means of solving the problem. But I have found in most times that is most counterintuitive, that the mind first needs to be checked, because it is a tool, before you engage it. If you let it run in unconscious patterns or even subconscious patterns, it may just lead you down even more worry and stress and burden. Most of the time I have found, especially with things going on outside of me that I have no control over, that is a tremendous waste of my time and energy that is so precious. All of our energy and our resources, our personal resources, are precious. Yes, love is always a renewable resource, but you have to shift back into it if you're not in a state of love in order to renew it. So that's what this tool kind of helps you do. But let me go back to that moment on the treadmill. So there I was, soaking in, seeing the images of war waging out, bombs dropping, these people being killed. But I had to catch myself before my mind took hold of that energy and spun it into narratives. I had to remember to immediately come back to my heart. And in that moment, even while I was running and processing all this in the back end, I remembered, take a breath and come back into my heart, to not necessarily tune out and forget, because being aware doesn't mean I also have to take on the responsibility of fixing those problems. You can both be aware and also consciously make a choice to decide what you own in this equation and what you don't. Because if you try to own the problems, they become your own, and then you inherit all that stress, all that anxiety, all that hatred, all that fear. So I came back to my heart, and within seconds, I was tuning back into my body, tuning back into my world, and realizing that honestly, this is probably the best way I can even solve the problem. If you believe in the perspective that we are all connected in oneness and that there is collective consciousness, which there's a lot of evidence that supports that, is if I raise my vibration, if I drop into my heart, then that shifts the frequency around me, and that contributes to the drop in the ocean, as Rumi puts it, that we are not a drop of the ocean, we are the ocean, right? So in staying rooted in my own heart, I can make a difference to the people around me and feel good within me. I had to remind myself that while I am viewing hell on the screens around me, from the news coverage of what was waging out in these wars, that I could find heaven within me. And that brings me to our word. The word for the spiritual toolbox, which, by the way, if you aren't familiar with my spiritual toolbox, it is a collection of mindfulness tools. I will link it in the description box below. So today's word is heaven. Now, you'll notice that there's something slightly different about the way it's spelled. We still have the word heaven, but the E is stylized in such a way to call forward hev in, as in inside. Now, I know that there are a lot of different interpretations of the word heaven. I was brought up Lutheran in a very devout Lutheran community. And I remember always thinking and being taught that heaven is outside of me and it is something that you go to in the afterlife. Now, I want to also think that we are, in a very loving, accepting community here on YouTube, and I'm not here to poke holes in anyone's beliefs, but I also know that the Bible is wide open for interpretation just due to how old and ancient it is. It's thousands of years old. So the same passage could be interpreted many different ways, especially when we look at it through modern context. And I have always thought that Jesus's teachings were mainly trying to steer humanity back into their heart, because they were starting to live out mostly from the ego and from the mind. And I remember, I think it's like in Luke, the book of Luke, the kingdom of heaven is within you, or some other texts translate it to among you. Now that's really interesting to me, because I have always felt that that was the core teachings of Jesus, was to say basically to call everyone back into their own heart, to love, peace, and compassion. I mean, he was a great teacher on forgiveness and compassion. And the word kingdom, to me, with a modern twist, I always interpret that as abundance. And abundance is in the same frequency as unconditional love. Because if you believe in the unconditional love of the universe, then you believe that you're worthy of abundance. And the highest, most powerful force that we know of in this known universe is love. It has profound abilities to create or to produce miracles, to shift consciousness in a second. And that's exactly what I did in that moment. So I guess what I'm saying is, throughout my journey and in lots of observation and analysis with different perspectives on heaven, I just really resonated with the idea that heaven is a state of consciousness, like a higher state of consciousness, and that kingdom is within me, or among me, among us. That it may not strictly, I think heaven could also be part of the afterlife journey as you ascend back into higher frequencies where your soul resides. I don't know. Who knows? No one really knows the answer to that. And we're not supposed to know. But I also think it may not just be exclusive to only the afterlife, that it can be a state of consciousness, state of being, or frequency that is attainable here. Have you ever heard of that saying, heaven on earth? And that a lot of New Age spiritualists believe that is what we are anchoring in, and that we have the ability to anchor in heaven on earth. And I truly do believe that. If heaven is a state of consciousness, then most definitely. So, is heaven external? Is it external? Does it have to be outside of us? When it's outside of us, it can feel unattainable. But in shifting back into the idea that heaven is within, drawn in through your heart, then it can definitely be internal. And if it's only available after death, then I wonder how Jesus was able to perform miracles, how Jesus was able to heal people, how he was able to embody heaven on earth. In all the things that he had said and taught, he said, you are also capable of this as well. Jesus was standing in to be a teacher, to say, this is what you can attain here on earth. heaven is on earth. I firmly believe those were his core teachings, and that he was trying to model what we are capable of through a transformation, through closer union with God, higher power, the divine. What if it's not just exclusive to after death, that you can experience it in the now? And how do you get there? It is definitely through the heart and not the ego. If you're in the ego, you're pigeonholed. You're thinking about how does this affect me? Ego resides a lot in fear-based energy. It's going to pattern into that space. You could be, or it could be coming from a lower subterranean level of the mind, like the subconscious or unconscious. So I'm going to say unconscious, subconscious mind. Now, I know if you're new to my channel, I've done some videos on the heart and the heart brain. It's definitely worth checking out so you can see the sheer magnitude and amazing abilities the heart has. It is intelligent, and it has the ability to feel into things beyond our mental capacity. And we were always taught as a society that it is top-down processing from the mind, then we take action. But there's there's even more power in bottom up, where you allowing the heart to take front center stage and direct the mind in the direction, in the decisions that you choose. The heart is capable of so much more power and magnitude and amazing, wonderful things beyond what our minds can do. The heart, I always like to think as the captain of the vessel. The vessel is life, and we are on the ocean of the universe. And the heart is what is steering the ship. And then the mind is like the crew that we delegate. Hey, go bring the mast down. We're going to take a right turn here. I don't know a lot of sailing terms, I will be honest. I should really tighten up on this analogy before I deliver it, but you kind of understand. Your mind is second in command, in other words. And in that moment when I was on the treadmill, I was able to get quickly back into my heart, because I do a lot of heart exercises and dropping into the heart. And in that moment, within a split second, I could feel my energy drawing back into me and then expanding outward in positive, feel good, love, peace, and harmony vibration. I was back into harmony with my natural state of being. Now, I'm not saying that this is a love and light and it'll all go away, kind of like spiritual hijacking. It was through anchoring back into the heart that I was actually able to find a higher perspective. I was able to identify that, like, no, this isn't mine. I don't have to make it mine. You see the difference? It's not ignorance, and it's not spiritual bypassing. It's consciously making a choice and consciously making a judgment call as to what is your truth. And it opened me up into compassion. And from that place, I felt like I was a better problem solver. In other words, I was able to see, hey, no, there's no way I can like humanly stop this war. But I can send some prayers of love and compassion to those who are in the crossfire, the innocent people. My heart definitely goes out to them. And if you're in one of these countries and you come across this video, my heart goes out to you. I hope you're safe and you're well accounted for. Sending you so much love and blessings. But it's from that place that I can actually, like Jesus was doing, create miracles, and I truly believe in the collective consciousness and in the power of prayer. And I know that that is going up there, out there somewhere. And it's up for not me to micromanage, but for the universe to put that into action in whatever way is best. And this can apply to many other areas of your life. Even for me, as of recently, I'm going through kind of a dip, kind of the valley. And I had to start asking myself, how can I shift out of this pattern of negative thinking and latching on to those problems and instead try to find heaven on earth. I got back from vacation a few weeks ago. I vacationed in the warm Bahamas, which was awesome. But getting back to Alaska and seeing spring sunshine, but it's actually gotten way colder, like negative temps. I'm feeling the long winter kind of settling in, and I had to remind myself, how can I still find heaven within me? And how can I create a vacation of my current life, even as I get back to work, back to the grind, so to speak, and play out my daily routines? How can I make this feel like a vacation. And it's through mindset shifts like that, perspective shifts, that can elevate you back into the higher frequencies of limitless potential and unconditional love, support, and compassion. Those propel you forward. It's not fear. Fear can drive action, but it has, if this world is a mirror, mirroring back to us, energy we're putting out, we're going to get not great things as a result of what we're putting out and what we're engaged with. But finding heaven within you is how you find peace, compassion, and acceptance. I hope that this message was helpful in helping you find heaven within you. Thank you so much for supporting my channel. And if there are any video requests or topics that you want to request me to dive into, please let me know in the comments below. I always love hearing your suggestions and your feedback. I will see you in the next video. Much love.